Family Circle Cup, a major tennis prize for the top women players. 8 times the champion, Evert Lloyd, and she's in the finals again today. Through the years, many young players have tried but failed to stop her. Last year, it was the attractive young Argentine Gabriela Sabatini, a Family Circle finalist, but like so many teenagers before, unable to dethrone Evert Lloyd. Yesterday, another promising 16-year-old denied by the champion, Stephanie Rahe, a tall Californian. A promising game, but excused in straight sets. Today in the finals, it's still another 16-year-old challenger, nearly half Chris's age, West German Steffi Graf. Talented beyond her years, seeks her first ever pro championship. Graf in the far court yesterday earned her way to today's finals with an impressive straight sets victory over U.S. Open champion Hana Mandlikova. Graf's forehand unerring and her solid total court game impressive. Her first win over Mandlikova offers Graf hope for an even bigger upset today. Just 16, Steffi Graf, the '84 Olympics winner, seeking a rare accomplishment. She's 0 for 6 against the 31-year-old Evert Lloyd in quest of an unprecedented 9th Family Circle title.
In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? Ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Yes, I'm gone.
On a beautiful day from the Sea Pines Racket Club on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, Family Circle Tennis is brought to you by Today Chevrolet, who invite you to live the style, the performance, and fun of Chevrolet in '86. By Stouffer's Entrees and Lean Cuisine Entrees, quality prepared foods for the way people eat today. And by Del Monte Fruit Snacks, a powerful, good snack.
Finest thing around. Whisper something soft and kind. And hey, babe, the sky's on fire. I'm dying, ain't I? I'm gone to Carolina in my mind.
Among the Carolina pines and the azaleas surrounding the clay rectangle here at Sea Pines Racket Club, a sellout crowd for the finals of the 14th Family Circle Cup. It's the #1 seed, #2 player in the world, Evert Lloyd, against the #3 seed and #4 in the world, Steffi Graf. Hello, everyone. Dick Enberg with Bud Collins, and we welcome Joanne Russell to our NBC team as we look ahead to the French Open and Wimbledon. And we're talking generations here, are we not? Evert Lloyd for 15 years. It was back in '70 when she first beat Margaret Court, and everyone said, who is this young girl? You knew her long before that. Against Steffi Graf, half her age.
Well, I think Steffi definitely has a chance. What she has to do is play her own game. Now, that sounds pretty simple, but Chris forces everyone to play a different game. She makes you go for the line instead of playing the percentage shot. So that's what Steffi has to do, play her own game.
I guess Chris really has dictated to all these youngsters to play her game, maybe one exception.
Well, Martina Navratilova is one of the few people who puts Chris out of her rhythm, and that's how she beats her.
Let's see, Bud Collins, you're the historian, but as I recall, 1970 Margaret Court, Steffi Graf was 1 year old when Evert Lloyd won her first big match.
Dick, it seems to me that you're very indelicate in continually alluding to the age of a senior citizen,
well,
Evert Lloyd. However, this is still Chrissy's sandbox. She's won 93 out of 96 sets in this tournament. She's won 46 out of 47 matches. And as she does her fade toward Medicaid, I think she's playing the best tennis of her life and is only going to get better. Look out, kiddies.
Well, Steffi Graf with a chance, however. She's never won a pro tournament championship. Today, she meets long odds against Evert Lloyd, the defending champion here at Hilton Head. And typical of this week and the brilliant play we've enjoyed, Steffi Graf, #4 in the world, 16-3 here in 1986. Yesterday she talked with Bud Collins.
If I'm going to play against Chris again, it's going to be the 7th time. And
0-6.
Yeah, it is, but I'm going to try to win.
Is there the feeling in your mind, though, that one day it will happen against Chris?
I'm sure it has to. I mean, I hope she's going to stay there a bit longer in the tennis to have the chance to win against her, maybe tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow is today, and there is Steffi Graf, and here is how the young West German arrived at this afternoon's final. Joanne?
Well, she got a bye in the first round, and then she took a very international route. She defeated Mercedes Paz of Argentina, then went on to Tina Scher-Larsen of Denmark, and whipped up on Manuela Maleva of Bulgaria, and then defeated the number 2 seed, Hana Manlikova.
Now, that would have to rate as one of her bigger wins for Steffi Graf, and opposed today the defending champion Evert Lloyd. For a long time, this talented lady from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, has kept a wary eye on the teenage core.
I've never lost to Steffi, but she, like all the other 16-year-olds, are only getting better. And she's improving, and she's really hitting her forehand very, very hard. And for her to beat Hana Manlikova is a great win for her. And I have to play like I did today.
Bud, she brought out the forehand to Steffi Graf, perhaps an early scouting report for us.
I think Steffi will hit a few backhands today because she does hit every backhand, flat slice and topspin, but she's a little cautious yet with her topspinner. Now, Chrissy's toughest set was her first of the tournament, a 12-10 tiebreaker against the German lefty Sylvia Haneke. Then a Canadian, Helen Kalesi, a Czechoslovak, Helena Sukova, and finally, keep your eye on this name from Highland, California, Steffi Graf, 16. She's going to move.
Yeah, that score is misleading, 6-2, 6-1. It took Chris an hour and a half to dispose of Graf. Neither player in the finals today has sacrificed a set in the tournament. We're ready to go. Evert Lloyd, her 15 years, 251 tournaments played to a relative handful for Steffi Graf. And this is a rather remarkable statistic. 146 tournaments won by Evert Lloyd. No other man nor woman can make that claim, and yet Steffi Graf, with all her success, is still looking for that elusive first.
It's a long time in coming, and it becomes a larger obstacle all the time, but she'll get it because she's going to be a very fine player.
Head-to-head, 6 times they have met, and Evert Lloyd not only has won all 6, but hasn't given up a set. What is your thought, Joanne Russell, about Graf's chances? Obviously, she must start quickly and hold her service.
And I know yesterday Chris mentioned her forehand. It is a good weapon, and against Hana, it was terrific. But Chris is a different player than Hana is, and I didn't think Hana played up to her potential yesterday. And Chris, although she's saying she's going to play Steffi's backhand, don't you worry, there's going to be a lot of balls going over to her forehand to challenge it.
Well, I think we got to watch Chris to be a creeper, to come up there. Now, yesterday, in the first point of the match, which was lost somewhere in Shibe Park or something like that, Chrissy came up to volley. She startled Graf. She startled me. She may have startled herself. I don't think she's ever come up on a first point in her life before, and she is showing more volleying ability, and this is all part of her self-improvement program. I said to her the other day, my theory on you is that you are going to outlast Martina Navratilova, you're going to outlast me and Enberg and Russell, you're going to outlast everybody. And she sort of smiled and said, well, I haven't thought, but I really think she wants to retire with that tournament victory record so far out of reach that nobody's ever going to get it. And I also believe her when she says, I can improve 10%. She said, I must become a better athlete. I'm working on that all the time. I must improve my technique. She said, for one thing, she said, I used to use a Western grip on my forehand volley. And she said, this is why Boris Becker doesn't volley very well. She said, I've now changed. And she said, he'll change too.
Steffi Graf will serve. Best 2 of 3 tiebreaker sets.
Oh!
Graf's backhand with every stroke and wins the point despite a fine try by Graf.
Now, this is what I mean. Steffi hits it on the line, and she really thinks she has it. Chris makes a great get, and then she tries for a little too much, misses the ball.
Low.
30. I think Steffi's going to hit a few backhands today.
Definitely. But already, Chris has changed the rhythm of Steffi's game in 2 points.
At times, we'll be able to offer you an exciting angle during the course of play from our little pencil camera located at the net. Ooh.
Oh.
Ace, first to the match, and it's 30 all.
30 all.
Steffi won the German juniors 18 and under at the age of 13. Started playing when she was 4 years of age. It's wide, and Graf holds from love 30 down. Graf wins the opening game. On the right, the father and the coach of Steffi.
And Michael Venberg, who is her hitting coach. And Peter is very cleverly sitting in a first-row box out of the view of referee Lee Jackson, who's been chasing him all over all week for coaching from the sidelines. Oops.
Nicely done.
Love 15.
Unlike so many of the American teenagers influenced by Chris Evert Lloyd, Graf, not a two-handed backhand player, helped her on that point. Both women grew up on this surface. Chris, of course, through the years has really dominated all, and until recent years, everyone except Martina on the clay surface. Once won 125 matches in a row.
Both had a lot of paternal help. Jimmy Evert took Chrissy to work with him to Holiday Park, where he was a teaching pro in Fort Lauderdale. And when Peter Graf found his daughter's liking for tennis, he simply built an indoor and outdoor court for her at their home. Net for service.
Ooh. Almost an ace by Chris.
Net for service. Bob Fortescue Christian, our net judge today, middle left of your picture. A great, great, great nephew of the original Fingers Fortescue.
Plays at the net, Graf could have already won this game. It's 30 all.
Now this is what makes a champion. Look at those feet, and she's got her racket in ready position, and she just touches it over, And because Steffi has such a big backswing on her forehand, she hits it right in the net.
On the line.
The best thing she does here, she keeps coming back into the net, and she sets it up, and now look, a volley play here. She moves perfectly towards the ball and makes a great shot. Her doubles has really helped her in her singles volleying.
And she's in the doubles final today, alongside Annie White.
And the game to Evert Lloyd. And she won that game at the net.
Wendy Turnbull is one of Chris's regular partners, and she told me they do a volley overhead drill that Chris could not do in the beginning, where you hit a lob, then you shoot a volley. You have to come in after the overhead, and now Chris does it every day, and it really has improved her volley.
It's the old Aussie backbreaker drill.
Love 15.
Already over $106,000 for the year, Steffi Graf. Martina Navratilova, the prize money leader, over $356,000. First double fault.
30.
Graf had to bail herself out of love 30 on her first service game.
Love 40.
You notice how Steffi runs around her backhand and hits a forehand. That's actually one of her better forehands, is from the backhand corner.
Love game against serve for Chris Evert Lloyd, who takes the lead 2-1. Colette Evert, John Lloyd, the husband of the defending champion, 8 times the champion of the Family Circle Cup, and now with the lead in this opening set 2-1. Chris Evert Lloyd. Chris married in April of '79.
Love 15.
You mentioned the 8 titles, Dick. No player has dominated a single tournament during the professional era as Chris has this one. Won a tournament 8 times and lost only 1 match.
Rare mistake.
Love 30.
And an opening for Graf to break back. The mountain of honors that this woman has earned.
I voted for her.
Staying on Graf's backhand is Chris. It's 15-30.
Ooh.
Well, there's evidence as to why Chris is staying away from Graf's forehand. Double break point.
And you notice you have to get it right in that backhand. Otherwise, as Steffi did there, she runs around it and hits a forehand. And she comes in and takes advantage of that shot. She just didn't let it bounce and keep the ball in play. And that's what she'll have to do the whole match.
So Graf a couple of chances to break, and even this first set at 2-all. One chance erased.
30-40.
Chris sets this up perfectly. She hits 5 balls to Steffi's backhand and then wails one down the line for a winner. And she did that by working Steffi's backhand.
And Graf has broken. It's 2-all.
Game Graf. Games are 2-all.
Ow!
15 love.
Flashed a good signal, but then called out.
Well, the umpire is definitely not overruling here either.
Too close to overrule.
Quiet, please.
Dwight Blakesley, the umpire, wisely does not consider overruling.
15-all.
Help!
15-30.
On the baseline.
Now this is a first. I have never seen her go and stand next to the linesman.
Catching her breath as well. A long, arduous rally.
She can't believe the call on the baseline. In fact, in the very first game of the match, you know, she's showing 2 fingers there.
Will you check it, please?
Now this is a little irregular. After the score has been called, to call the linesman out, and umpire Blakesley, we've seen this before, And it's a bit irregular, and this is what happens when you become a legend of tennis, Chris Evert Lloyd. When you finally ask for the mark to be checked, sure, they'll check
Well,
it.
yesterday they called the score a bit too quick. Here's the ball.
Tough to see from that angle. Wonderful save by Chris, and good volley by Graf to go 30 all.
You notice how Chris never gets rattled? All that noise, speaking to the linesman, she still hits a solid return, and Steffi's the one that makes the error.
Working on the backhand, it pays off. Chris Evert Lloyd has broken again, takes the lead. We'll be back after these words from your local station.
Baselines woman, and Bruce Paris is directly behind Steffi Graf on the right sideline.
Different Chris Evert Lloyd at the net, because before she never would have expected this to come back. And look, she makes a nice volley, nothing too fancy, into the open court.
She was certainly well positioned. We're going to see more of that from Chrissy this season. Oh!
Ooh.
Not up.
Didn't bounce at all. 15 all.
15 all.
Well, I haven't seen that before here, because John Pazik does such a splendid job.